Enough money to give everyone in the audience tonight $1 million. Okay, we'll see what kind of mood he's in. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the author of this book right here, Trump, The Art of the Deal, Donald Trump. Hi, Donald. Good to see you. Nice of you to stop by.
Thank you, David.
You know, at the beginning of the show, I said you either love him or you hate him. Now, do you find that that's true, or does everybody love you, or does everybody hate you?
No, most people love me, and a few really have great distaste for me, David.
And why is it that those people, that few, would not care for you? Because you're so successful?
I can't imagine. No, I don't think so. It's just I sort of speak my mind a little bit like you in that respect.
Yeah.
A little bit like you.
A little bit like me.
Not too much, hopefully.
How much are you worth right now, as you're sitting right here?
Zero idea, David. It depends on what's happening with the world and the market. But the $1 million for each person in the audience sounds like it could be an intriguing idea.
Yeah. Do you make more money? You own casinos. How many casinos do you own?
We have 4 casinos.
4 casinos in Atlanta?
Paradise Island, Atlantic City, and it's really been very fabulous.
Now, do you make more money from the casinos or more money in real estate development?
Well, probably real estate in a sense, but real estate is an appreciation business, whereas the casinos are cash flow, and I don't know, I never really even think of it in those terms. I try doing a great job. I think we have the best hotel casinos in the world, and hopefully I have the best real estate in the world with Trump Tower and everything, and that's what I like.
All right, now let's get back to the assessment of your wealth for a second. If you had to liquidate, if you just decided I'm going somewhere else, I'm going to live in a trailer, and you wanted to sell off, everything, you'd start with your real estate development, all of your real estate holdings, and whatever else you have, your casinos, so on and so forth. You sold everything.
Right.
How big would that check be that you put in your pocket when you headed west for the trailer?
Well, I hate to disappoint, but I have zero idea, David. How come this seat is at such a low level? You know, I'm looking at him. He's got this stage rigged, folks.
No. But
that seat is a good six inches higher than my seat.
And so am I.
Huh? I see.
But no, I'm serious. I think that this...
I'm not going to get you off that subject.
No, I think this is the kind of thing that people love to fantasize about, because you were unquestionably one of the most successful men in the country, if not the world, and also one of the wealthiest. So, give us a figure that we might ponder here.
You'll never get it out of me, David. You'll never get it out of me. You'll try, but you'll never get it. Let's get something like how we're going to become more successful. Let's talk about that.
I read something this afternoon that said in the bank right now you have $500 million in cash. In cash. Is that a fair?
Which paper did you read that in?
Well, I can't divulge those sources.
You have to give me the newspaper.
No, just tell me, is that not true, or is that close? Am I nuts here?
Well, I don't know. You have to tell me where you got that, David. This is a very unusual interview, folks.
You won't put a figure, just an imaginary figure?
Never would.
$1 billion. You're worth $1 billion?
Perhaps.
Perhaps. Perhaps. Are we the low side of perhaps or the high side of what were you like as a kid? What kind of childhood did you have?
Well, I had a good childhood, wonderful parents, really good parents, and it was a good, solid childhood, I'd say. Very normal in a lot of respects, but a very, very solid childhood.
Yeah.
From the standpoint of family, you know.
Are you a driven person? Did you jump out of bed in the morning and just...
I don't think of myself as driven. I'm fortunate. I don't need lots of sleep like some people, and some people don't. I don't need that. I would say that I'm somebody that enjoys what I do, and I enjoy it so much that perhaps I do it well. But I really enjoy what I do. I don't like to think of myself as driven. I don't like to think of myself really as ambitious. I just enjoy what I do, Dave.
Is what you do something you've always wanted to do? I know your father was and still is a real estate developer.
My father was in the real estate business, and I've been in that and other businesses and different things. I like what I'm doing. I just enjoy what I'm doing. I love the real estate business, and I love the other businesses that I'm in.
Could you have done it without your father as a support system, both emotionally and financially? Did he help you out when you were starting?
The emotional was very important, and I learned a lot from my father, more than anything else. I learned a lot. My father was out in sort of a tough business in Brooklyn, Queens, rent-controlled property and various properties, and it wasn't a great business. It was a good business, and he was a solid guy and a bright guy. And I learned a lot from my father. And I think in terms of support, that would be the #1 thing that I got from my father.
Have you had failures, big failures?
Well, I don't look at failures as failures. I think a failure is something that you really want to learn by. I would say that I haven't had too many, and I want to keep it that way. I like keeping
What's the biggest bath you've taken on a deal?
I don't know if I can answer it yet. I mean, let's see what happens. So far, I've been very fortunate. But, I mean, we've all been fortunate. Markets have been going up other than a few weeks ago.
Now, did you get hurt in the stock market then?
Not particularly, but I think everybody gets hurt because when you lose $1 trillion or whatever throughout the world, I suspect everybody's hurt indirectly. I'm in the real estate business. You sell apartments, you sell this, you sell that. Perhaps people don't have as much. Everybody gets hurt by that, David.
Let me ask you one more of these silly questions, and I promise after we do the commercial, we'll go on to other topics.
Then we're going to get serious, right?
Well, I didn't say that. What would it take, what kind of a hit would it take to get your attention where you would maybe need a drink? Where somebody came in and said, Don, we got some bad news. Woo! That's 7-Eleven in Akron. Well, what?
Hopefully, David, I wouldn't be in a position where I'd have to take that kind of...
I know that. I know. We're just pretending.
I just want to tell you that...
You act like you're running for something.
No.
All right, we'll do a commercial. We'll let him think some of these over and try and get a straight answer. Okay, Donald Trump is here. You're on the cover of the new issue of People magazine. I don't know what I'm beating around the bush here. I don't know why you're being so goofy about this. It says on the cover you're a billionaire.
It
at
does
41.
say that?
Yeah.
Well, if
so
people says it, I would have to believe it. When people say so.
What's the deal with you and Ed Koch? Is this an old irritation between the two of you, or is this something new?
No, it's really not. Ed Koch is a man who I've liked at some points in terms of... I have no objection to Ed except for one thing. He's not a very capable or competent mayor. He's done...
Whoa!
He's done a bad, as most of you New Yorkers would probably know, he's done a pretty bad job running New York, and that hurts me and it hurts everybody. And when I see somebody that's not competent and he's running something, and something that I have really a big stake in, it bothers me, and I do something about it.
Are you speaking from a position of somebody who has a lot of really, really special interest in the city?
No, it's not I do have a special interest. I have a special interest in New York. New York City is a hot city. It's a great city. It's the greatest city in the world, according to many, and according you're here, and we're also here.
Right.
And I hate to see some of the things happening with New York that have happened under the Koch administration. So I hit him pretty hard in the book, but I hit him fairly in the book. I hit him very fairly. Yeah. Probably very hard in the book, but very fairly.
Is it kind of a pointless defense to say that this city is so big that it is actually unmanageable to a certain extent, and he's doing the best he can, sort of just tending it day to day?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I hope that's never a defense of anybody. I did the Woolman skating rink in 4 months for $2 million or $2.5 million. They started 7 years before that and were unable to build it. I think they spent something like $15 million.
This is a huge ice skating facility in Central Park, which the city was...
7 years. 7 years.
7 years, they could not get it open.
They could not build it, and we did it in 4 months. So, you know, you say, hey, it's big and everything else, and give them a little bit more time, but the fact is, that's a disgrace. The zoos are a disgrace. The subways, the schools. But it's really, David, it's really management. It's management, it's competence, it's capability, it's just basic ability, and Ed Koch doesn't have it.
Yeah, but you're speaking again from the over-the-fence in private enterprise. He's trying to run a municipal administration.
It can be done.
You think it could be done?
Absolutely. By the right person, it could be done.
Yeah. Any thoughts? I mean, would you want to be mayor of this city?
No, I wouldn't want to be mayor. It'd run very well if I was mayor, but I would not want to be the mayor of New York.
Is there something you do want?
No, I just want to keep doing what I'm doing. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm on your show. You're a fantastic show. You're a star in my book. Everyone's talking about.
I know. I appreciate that.
We wrote all about David in the big book.
Now, that's another
Pretty
thing.
surprised
We
to see
came
that.
up to you that one afternoon, completely unannounced. We were in the lobby of the Trump Tower facility up the road there, and we just called up and said, can we come up and see Don? And they said, come on up.
Absolutely.
Now, how busy can you be?
I'm not busy at
But you
all.
were
That was a lot of fun, by the way.
Yeah, it
Your
was fun.
coming up was a lot of fun.
And I must say, I thought that was very gracious of you to do, because obviously you got a lot better things to do than goof around with me.
You're right.
Yeah. And what about the, are people trying to draft you to run for president up in New Hampshire?
Well, I guess a lot of people want to see this country. It's a shame what's happening. Japan, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, everybody's taking advantage of the United States. People know that if certain people are running a country, that it won't happen. I mean, when you look at Japan, not paying for the defense, we're defending Japan. We're losing billions and billions of dollars. We're fighting for AIDS help and for farmers and for this and that. And it's a shame. And the Japanese folks, who I respect greatly, but they're not treating us fairly. They're really not treating us fairly. Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, they're not paying us anything for the services we're rendering, and I think it's a disgrace. And I think people look at certain people, and maybe me, if I were in a position, this country, believe me, would not be ripped off like it is. And it is just being ripped off so badly by our so-called allies.
Yeah. So that's a pretty strong statement. So now, are you saying
I don't think it's
that
strong. I think it's fair. And by the way, I have tremendous respect for the Japanese. I do a lot of business with the Japanese, and they smile about it too. They know it. The country is losing billions and billions of dollars to Japan, and we can't afford to lose. And it's a shame. It's
But
a
so
shame
now,
what's
are
happening.
you saying this by way of indicating that you could do it better, and you do intend to run for president at some point?
No, I'm not going to run for president, but I think somebody.
Now,
could
in
do-
8 years, if you came back, would you have a different answer? In 4 years,
I
if you
tend to
came back?
doubt it. I really tend
Really?
to doubt it. But I just think that there's so many ways that this country can straighten itself out, and we're not going about those ways. Cutting farm aid is not the appropriate thing. Cutting help for the homeless and help for the poor and welfare. Certain things can be done that really will mean big dollars to this country, and those things are not being done right now.
Let me ask you one other question, because I know you have other appointments and stuff to get to. If you go to dinner and the bill is like, say, $25, how much of a tip would you throw down?
Well, you know, the way I feel about tips, if somebody does a super job, I give more than anyone. And if somebody does a lousy job, I probably give less than anybody. And that's the way I feel about life. Life should be, you should be rewarded for competence and capability and doing a job and having a smile on your face, maybe, if that's the case. And I'm a pretty good tipper when somebody's good, and I'm a pretty lousy tipper if somebody's not good. So that's the way it is.
But, you know, sitting here listening to this stuff, it seems to me you are dying to get to some public platform to superimpose those feelings upon the American awareness.
Well, maybe so, but I'm not. I would like to have the feelings known and let somebody else do it, and it can be done. If it's carried, if the ball's carried correctly, it can be done.
Yeah, but if you want something done right.
Do it yourself.
Here's the book. It's Trump, the art of the deal, and this is Donald Trump. Donald, thank you very much for coming out.